And we are live. What is good, YouTube? This is your boys again, the dynamic duo, back for another rendition of Unapologetically Male. I hope you guys had a great Labor Day weekend. As you noticed, today is Tuesday, and we did not do a podcast yesterday, being it was a holiday. We took the days off to spend time with our family and do the whole grill thing like y'all always do. But it's me again, your boy Max, aka Maximilian, and I got my co-host with me, Mr. Lando,
Lando's in the building. Man, it
in
was
the
hot
building.
yesterday. Yeah,
Hell yeah. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing all right. Just trying to stay cool. It was so hot you can actually grill a hot dog on a sidewalk.
Man, I tell you, I know what you mean. I got a little exercise in the day, and woo, that heat is no joke right now. We're supposed to be getting into the fall season. I don't know what's going on with the weather right now.
Well, as long as winter stays away as long as possible, I'm not complaining.
Right, because winter is not car season. But anyhow, let's get into our topic today, and that's the topic of dream killing. And you know who your dream killers are, typically at the hands of women and in relation to men. So, my take on this is, men are biologically engineered to, we're just biologically engineered to have that hunter kind of instinct inside of us. And since we're not in, since we're not in those old days of hunting woolly mammoths and crap like that, we're in a civilized society. So we have to substitute that kind of that kind of drive and that kind of itch, that biological drive to hunt. We replace that stuff with dreams or having goals and dreams, and we carry out those dreams, we carry out those plans in our lives to we make plans to facilitate accomplishing those dreams. And what we do is we bring women along for those rides. We bring the woman along to ride and to ride it out and to help us journey through achieving those goals and those dreams. And the right type of woman would help a man do such things. But
You're 100% correct. And
yes, yes, sir.
I like how you put it where we bring the women along for the ride for our substitution of hunting and gathering. It's
Yes,
like we're often in inspiration. That's what it is. If you remember the movie Scarface,
yeah,
when he hooks up with his love interest in the story, he tells her, "This is what I want to do, A, B,
yeah,
and C, but I can't do any of it without you
yep,
because she is his muse. She is his inspiration to want to drive to do those things."
hmm,
And I think that is that's something that women don't fully appreciate in this generation,
no,
that a man is willing to reach higher heights for her sake, not so much just for his own sake.
right, right.
Because as men, it's like reaching accomplishments and being alone and not sharing those achievements is fulfilling.
Right.
You know,
Exactly. Exactly. And but the thing is too is that when you do get a woman to basically co-sign on for that ride, um, they often, more times than not, want to become the epicenter of your happiness. So if you're if you have let's say a hobby, as often as we do, and that hobby, and you constantly work at that hobby to become the most proficient at that hobby that you want to be, she is not going to be happy that you're happy. Your happiness comes from that hobby too. Like she wants to be the source of your happiness, and for her to have a monopoly on your happiness. So whenever oftentimes we find ourselves between a rock and a hard place. When your woman is constantly nagging you, that you're spending too much time here, too much time there. So you try to, I guess, achieve some kind of balance to both make your life better by still pursuing those dreams, and at the same time, you give enough attention paid to her, so it's not, saying it's a balancing act,
Hmm.
you know. But they're constantly trying to take that and put that happiness all into their basket. Is what I'm finding out. That's I mean, it's my opinion that that's just what they're doing, and it's often the case for me. I mean, what do you think about that, Lando?
Well, yeah, it seems to me, just basically from observation, that women generally are perpetual in this me mode type of status, to where everything is about them first, then the rest of
Mhm,
the world. You know what I
mm,
mean?
mhm,
So when a man has a goal and he's actually getting gratification from pursuing that goal,
mhm,
the woman realizes that she is not getting attention at that point because his focus is diverted away from her, and
mhm,
that's where it gets to the point where she's not happy about that, and she feels the need to kind of step in and interject and try to jump up for attention, all the way up to at the expense of his goal. So
mm,
a woman is willing to destroy a man's dreams for the sake of attention. I mean,
mm.
does that sound right to you?
I believe so. I believe so. I believe that she's willing to destroy what I call what I think is the competition. The
Hmm.
competition is not even coming in the form of another woman.
Oh
It's
yeah.
form of attention diverted away from her. So she's competing, or she's considering her. She's in her mind. She is basically competing with inanimate objects. If
Mm.
say if the man's
Inanimate objects,
yeah,
ideas,
hmm
or anything that has nothing to do with her.
yeah, every and anything that has nothing to do with her. Now, I believe also that if you say you have a family with that woman, she is now transferred that kind of emotional connection to the kids. And now that you have kids and you bring this in, y'all become a family, she's now transferred that energy into a family unit, and any outside influence or any source of happiness that you acquire for your own soul peace of mind, is a neglect of the family at this point. Not just a neglect of her, but now you're neglecting the whole family.
Mm.
It,
It's
it,
a guilt trip at that point.
say what?
It's a guilt trip at that point.
Exactly. It
So
is a
it's
guilt
like,
trip. That's
if you
that's what
work
it turns into.
if you work like a full 50, 60 hours a week, and then you want to just relax and do whatever makes you feel good, like watch the game that you had to like put on DVR. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? So you're probably the last person out of your friends to see the game, or if you or if you're into video games like some adults are, because
Hmm.
video games are not just for kids,
Hmm.
contrary to popular belief.
Absolutely, contrary to popular belief.
And or either if you're a collector or a builder, if you got some sort of hobby where you work with your hands, or
Hmm.
things that stimulate your mind.
Yeah,
If
exactly.
you got any of those things going on, and a woman is in your life, and she sees that, oh, that's taking time away from me, she's
Hmm.
going to try to derail that. And here's the annoying part too, because sometimes when that happens, most guys usually will set aside their hobbies to make room for whatever their wife is itching for,
Yes,
but she will in turn act like she's unavailable.
true. This
You know
is
what I mean?
this is
So
often the
it's
case.
like, I feel sorry for the guy that gets rid of his motorcycle for her sake,
Hmm.
because you always hear, yeah, the wife wants me to sell it. Then they
Yep.
sell it, and then the wife doesn't spend the quality time with the husband like she claimed she wanted to.
Right. There's no reciprocation at that point. Like you don't often see, the same amount of sacrifice on her part I guess I don't even want to say I don't want to call it a reward, for his sacrifice. But that's kind of like if you want to make it
It
basic,
sounds like that because
yeah, yeah. If you want to make
he's
it,
always having to perform.
yeah, if you want to make it basic, simple terms, your reward does not match your sacrifice when it comes to that. Like that's often the case. That's not what's going to happen. So you give up that motorcycle because you quote unquote trying to do what's right, and in
Right.
turn, you just sit and have a boring life after that.
Yeah, it's like you're killing yourself for her sake, and she'll never appreciate it.
Right.
You
Right.
know what I mean? And that's why you hear some women always like shaming men, like if he's in his 40s or whatever, or 50s, and he goes out and buys a Corvette. You know what I mean? Oh, he's
Yeah.
having a midlife crisis. It's
Right.
like, no, he's recapturing his what's left of his vitality.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? It's like you can't. Women should not objectify men to just basic utilities. You know what I mean? All the way up until death.
Right.
There's something like really, really selfish about that, where you feel like a man is not entitled to enjoy the one and only life he is given, throughout certain
Mhm.
points and times, because he's already doing everything to bring up the family, to nurture and protect the relationship. And it gets to be a sense of blasphemy. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Because
And I was gonna say, like, to tie into that too, is like men who do finally give way to that demand, you know, whatever it be, art, uh, cars or motorcycles, your love for extreme sports, whatever the case may be, when he finally lets that bow break and gives into that, it's just like more often than not, the woman becomes complacent. Like she becomes bored because now she doesn't have the now that she's the gatekeeper to your happiness, she doesn't have that competition anxiety anymore. So she just sits there and wonders like, okay, so now I don't have the added drama of fighting him on whatever it is that he does. Okay, next person then. They kind of that's where you get that whole you're just not the same person anymore. It's like when you like say hypothetically you're an artist. Uh,
Mhm.
and you spent a lot of time in the studio. Well, now you done got her, now you got her pregnant. Now you're building a family. Well, now you need to spend more time at home because the baby is, growing and he needs the father there. So you start to do that type of thing. And you spend less time in the studio and more or less time in the studio. You're not as creative as you used to be. And then all
That
of
you're down with responsibility.
yeah, so
Yeah.
and all of us yeah, so now all of a sudden what enticed her to begin with, your creativity, your vision, your dream of, the artwork, the passion that you're putting into the world
Hmm.
is like this fire burning inside of you is now a candle. And so
Yeah, you're right.
she's
I
like, you're just
noticed
not
that.
you're just not the same man anymore. That's where you get that you're not the same man anymore that I met. Well, no shit, sweetheart. You've worked hard to destroy that.
Yeah,
Like,
and it's like it's weird. Women want this duality of a man, which is impossible. You know what I
mhm,
mean?
mhm,
It like you said, to be the type of man that was full of passion and drive and youthful desire and just being interesting and mysterious and all this adventurous having all these adventurous qualities. You
mhm,
can't have that and be a responsible husband at the same time, or a father,
mhm.
because it's like to be that other person that you used to be requires a larger amount of freedom.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you can't women can't have their cake and eat it too,
No.
because it's funny how men understand that once they cross a certain line in a relationship, that they can't have their cake and eat it too. Why can't women get it? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
We
and
know
you know,
that we can't have a wife and expect her to act like the girlfriend we used to have because
right,
women don't go backwards when it
right.
comes to status. We get that.
And do
That's
you
all I got to say about that one.
think now? Do you think like uh do you think that the do you think like that brings me to a question? Do you think that women would prefer competition anxiety from other women or prefer competition anxiety from your passion or whatever hobby that you created for
Like,
yourself?
which would they rather have?
Yeah, like which one do you think? Like it's a hard question to. I'm gonna see where I'm going with this. It's kind of like,
Where you going? It's a good question. I don't think it's a
yeah,
question that's ever been asked before. Um, I think at the end of the day, both things take away attention, but only
right.
one thing will displace you permanently. And that's so I think a woman would rather have, like, say, a guy be into a hobby than to have another woman try to vie for his attention because
Mm,
she has a potential of completely taking him away.
yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, like that makes me think of too. Is it's like if it's a woman competing for your attention and your current girlfriend or wife or whatever, like
Mhm.
it sparks in her that competition anxiety. And so she will compete against that other woman who's trying to take you. You know what I'm
Yeah, you know
saying?
what?
It'll spark jealousy out of her on a different level.
But she'll want you more, which is the interesting.
Yes. That's what I'm saying. Like she is gonna like become, I don't want to say like go
Across the
back to the
ocean for you,
girlfriend stage.
you, and then she won't want you.
Yeah, like she's not gonna go back to the girlfriend stage per se, because in the girlfriend stage, which is the honeymoon phase,
Mm.
basically. But it's gonna bring some level of that back.
Oh yeah.
Whereas with a hobby, for example, you're gonna get jealousy, but it's gonna be more of a you shouldn't do this type of thing, and it's because I said so. It's not like
Mm.
there's no she's not going to directly compete with your hobby. She's going to try to strong arm you to not pursue those things,
Or
whereas the
passive
woman,
aggressive tactics that'll
yes,
like make it so you can't do your hobbies as easily.
right, right. But when it comes to an other human being, she's going to have some type of interaction that is just going to spark that kind of like that girlfriend drive out of her again.
Oh yeah.
So it's like it's almost the same thing, but it's like a little. That's why I feel like they would rather prefer another woman to try and take you than to compete with you against hobbies. You know?
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's strange. Either way, it's an uncomfortable situation to be in because you got to deal with all kinds of, like I said, passive aggressive crap.
Hmm.
Like I remember having a time an issue with my ex where um I used to have conversations with a woman I used to know before my ex,
Hmm.
and they were enjoyable conversations. And just from the fact that these conversations was enjoyable was enough to get my ex's plate spinning fast. I was not trying to cheat or nothing like that. We was just talking. The fact It was just that the fact that there was a smile on my face that didn't come from her was enough to get her
Uh,
spinning.
well, I mean that ties back into she wants to be the sole gatekeeper to your happiness. You know.
Or misery, whichever comes first.
True, true. It's either they either want you to suffer or they want to be the sole purpose of your happiness.
Yeah,
Anything outside of that is just out of bounds for them.
yeah, it's just the control. Now, how do you disarm that? I think this is a conversation that more men need to talk about. how can you disarm a woman, whether you're just dating her or you're married to her? How do you take away all her power to try to shit test you and put you through
Well,
those
I mean, I got my own personal answer for that. Uh,
which is
my own personal answer for that is basically you have to be willing to take an L.
and how do you mean that?
As in,
Give
like,
me a scenario.
I say, like, say, for example, she doesn't like something that you do. Not as long as it's not it's not jeopardizing the safety of you, your family, her, whatever. Not talking something on that level. Like that's absurd. That's absurd.
Mm,
You're just in the wrong. But I'm talking about something just basic. Just you like to go have a beer with the boys on a Saturday night, like the second Saturday every month. If she starts to nag you and says, I don't like Jimmy, or I don't like James because he is such and such, such and such. You have to be willing to take an L in the form of, well, if you don't like it, you're free to leave.
I get what you're saying. Just being just dismissive.
Yeah, like you're free to leave. Like I'm not going to try to control you. You're free to do what you please. Like I'm not going to try to control, and the funny thing is if you come from that angle,
Mm-hmm.
they will then try to say, and they will get other people to co-sign on with this narrative that you're a control freak, or that you're control, that you're trying to control her. No, the actuality is you're controlling yourself, your own environment, and if she doesn't, she's not on board with that, let her know that you're not held hostage here. You're free to go about your way. If the juice is worth the squeeze, then it's all the merrier. But you have to be willing to take that L. Like you have to take pussy off the table, and just if she if you don't have to look at
Easier way
the
around that
only.
whole thing.
Yeah, you like look. You have to look at it as this is not the only one that I'm ever going to get in my entire life, and
I
so.
would, this is an easier way. At least I think it's an easier way. There's a
Mhm.
little thing called accountability. You shove that in a woman's face, stops her cold.
Mm.
So it's like when a woman starts nagging or whatever, or trying to convince you or talk you into doing something you don't want to do,
Mhm.
first thing you respond is, "What do you want?" Just be direct. You're like, "What is it that you want?"
Mhm.
And it
I've
is
done that.
not like deer in headlights because now they got to answer you and answer you honestly because if they
Yeah.
lie, it's going to backfire.
Right. And I've done that. I've done that in the context of interacting with women out in the field. Like when I call the field, I mean like the dating scene.
All
Uh
right.
and not in terms of a relationship for me. For me, if you're in the midst of starting a relationship with this woman, like for me, that's when it switches gears, and I'm more along the lines of, yo, I'm gonna do this. If you're not comfortable with that, I understand. I'm not gonna hold against you. You're free to leave. That
Yeah, I just say, what is it you want?
yeah,
And like there, it's like when they answer, then I force them to stand by what they're saying.
yeah.
And one or two things happen when I do that.
Mhm,
Either they leave on their own and I never speak to them again because they don't want to stand by what they said,
mhm,
or they stand by what they said and I hold all the cards in my hand.
mm, mhm.
Either one, there's only one or two ways that can go. That way, my time doesn't get wasted.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And that's kind of like how I told, like I said, when I actually had that same kind of tactic. Like when you take the power away from them, power of sexuality, letting them know that you're not going to hold me hostage uh, just because you think that I think with the little head rather than the big head. It's like
Mm,
not going to work. That's what I had with that interaction with this one chick from California. She was, vying for my attention. I
mm.
was battling back and forth with her. There was like this little power struggle, and at one point I was just like, do you find me attractive or no?
Yep, that disarms them.
and
Being
she and
being
she's
direct.
taken back by that direct question. Like, we're often stuck in this uh thought process that it's just not right to ask a direct question like that. We have to go about it and see how it just pans out. No, I don't do that.
Because in this generation, most young men all the way up into adulthood are raised on this notion that they have to fear the response of women,
Mm-hmm.
fear rejection,
Spirit, yeah.
or fear hurting her feelings, or fear offending her,
Mm-hmm.
or fear all these different things.
Yep.
Because if any of those has like a negative response, then that says something about your masculinity or your manhood.
Yeah, and you just lost out what you could have had. No, not really.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like, but if more young boys and young men were brought up in the notion that they are the prize and
Mm-hmm.
it's their prerogative to talk to a woman or not,
Mm-hmm.
if they had that level of self confidence instilled in them, we I think we would just have a stronger country in general.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I mean, there would be no Me Too because the men that are honorable wouldn't be too afraid to say no, this is a lie. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because this is a generation where it's like if you call a woman a liar, you're like disgracing her honor, and there's something wrong with you.
Right. And for my people that's listening, the answer to that question of did she find me attractive, she responded with a half-answered maybe, and
Oh,
she was trying to not reveal her cards, so to speak, and was playing this on the fence kind of attitude. And my response back to her was, well, it's fine if you don't, because if you don't, then I'm not going to sit here and waste my time talking to you. I'm going to keep it moving. You know what I'm saying? It's like, if you do, great. If you don't, then I'm not going to sit here and, wonder what's going on. I'm going to keep it moving. I'm not going to waste my time talking to you.
right.
And that put her back, I put the ball back in her court because
Mhm.
stayed I stayed in my own power zone. I stayed in the power of myself. And then
You held the frame.
she goes, "Well, yes, I do find you attractive." It's like, well, okay, then stop playing games. You know,
Yeah.
that's how.
Men need to understand that the knee jerk response when it comes to female interaction is she's either looking to probably do the same thing you are, which is bust and move, or she's in it to
Mhm.
waste your time so she
Mhm.
can see what she can get.
Yep.
So you want to like cut her off at the pass, just be direct.
Mhm.
Don't ever be afraid of being direct.
Because
Like, what do
they
we
will, yeah. So women will use you to get what they need with this disguise that they're interested in you.
hmm
And you get all the way to the time to basically seal the deal. And they're like, oh, thank you for blah, blah, blah. Have a good day. And so
Yeah.
you feel defeated and used.
And it's the worst thing in the world where I've had this happen before in my blue pill days,
Hmm.
where a woman will call you up, hey, I heard you're good at doing this type of thing. I could really use your help. And then you're like, yeah, I can help you out. And then you go to help her out. And then just when you're thinking, okay, there might be an opportunity here. Oh, when do you think you'll be done? Because my boyfriend's picking me up.
Yeah.
It's
Uh,
like, wait a minute, why isn't he doing this?
exactly.
You know what I mean? So if you're direct, you eliminate so much of that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You eliminate so much of that. And
Yeah.
and there's nothing wrong with just being direct and honest about your intentions,
Hmm.
how she feels. Don't worry about if you're offending her.
Absolutely.
Because at the end of the day, her disposition should never matter
No.
because she doesn't care about your disposition, and that's why she has you in her crosshairs.
Exactly. Exactly. So take that away, man, and be direct. Don't worry about, what I'm saying, don't worry about offending her. Keep, and if she rejects you, brush it off, keep it moving.
If she rejects you, she saved you some time.
Absolutely. Saved you a shitload of time. You know, and circling back to you know, what your hobbies are, where your passion is, you know, there is always a delicate balance. Like if you're desiring to have a family, you're desiring, you know, to pick one woman. You know, I don't subscribe
Oh,
to married.
one itis.
Yeah, if you're subscribing to that one itis type situation, which is some beta male stuff, you do that. It's always a struggle to have a perfect balance. But the one thing you never want to do is give it up 100%, because once
Mhm.
it comes once she becomes the pinnacle, once she becomes the focal point of what makes you happy, now she's got everything she can, and there's nothing else for her to fight for it at that point. Like that's what happens when women get married. It's like the end goal has been accomplished.
Mhm.
Now what's next for them? And so you see you see couples go through divorce. The rate of divorce is over 50% in this country, and it comes at the hands of 70 to 80% of divorces being initiated by women.
Mhm.
This is where that comes from. You know what I'm saying? So keep spinning that plate. Part of that plate spinning is not relinquishing your hobbies, not relinquishing your desires and your dreams. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, it's a balancing act, but don't give it up 100%. Whatever you do, don't give it up 100%. With that said, we thought we'd prepare another little bonus segment for you guys if you're listening out there. And we're going to spin the tables right now and jump into an area that is pretty hopping and pretty hot right now, and that is Eminem and MGK going at it. This is a pinnacle point for the rap industry and the rap game. Eminem, considerably one of the greatest lyricists, greatest rappers of all time, just dropped a new album. If you haven't heard it, it's called Kamikaze. Uh, in it, he goes in at MGK, goes in at mumble rappers, goes in at basically the whole rap industry in general to basically say, "What are y'all doing? You're ruining the rap game."
He just flipped the tables. That's what
Yeah,
he did.
absolutely, absolutely. And so, what do you think? What do you think, Lando, about the battle? What's your impressions of MGK's response to Eminem's diss tracks?
Well, when I first heard about what was happening, I had to hear what was going on for myself.
Hmm.
You know, people saying, "No, this is just another rap beef," and I'm like, "No, this ain't beef. This is a ham sandwich with a bunch of mayo in between. That's what that is." And it's like I listened to MGK's so-called diss, and it's like I thought he brought up a lot of valid points, but it wasn't a diss. It was more like just from further evaluation. It was a very clever way of saying, "Hey, man, quit it." That was it. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
He wasn't really coming at Eminem's head for nothing. You know what I mean? It seemed
Mhm.
like he just kind of wanted. He was complaining.
Mm.
Like Eminem made it to the top, and he's complaining about, well, let some of us other rappers get a little bit of action too. And it's like that's not how it works.
Mm.
It's like if you want yours, you gotta go for yours the same way he did, the same way any other MC did.
Yep. Yeah. And
And
you
it's like MGK, he's got some bars. He's pretty clever, but
Mhm.
he's not intimidating nobody.
No, that's kind of how I felt too. It's like you know, I have the whole Kamikaze album and I've listened to it front to back, back to front, and it's just fire. I'm telling you, the whole thing is just fire. There are a couple of tracks in there that I kind of agree with another analyst. He had mentioned that there are like three tracks where he speaks on the usual relationship kind of thing that he has gone through basically his whole career, you know, when it comes to dealing with women. And I didn't find like the person I was listening to at the time, he was saying that, those tracks he could have left off. But for me, being that we're red pill men, I was like, no, those tracks stay relevant to me. So fast forward to MGK's response to some of the diss tracks that M put out. Um, and on first impression, I was like, that's not too bad actually. That was pretty good response. Uh,
Hmm.
he hit him on some points. That's okay. It's good, good, good. And then when you start further analyzing the actual lines and the lyrics, you can't. He's dissing him and complimenting him at the same time. It's like you can't do that in a diss track. Like that makes no sense. It's
It's
like
like the Floyd Mayweather fight. That's what it
yeah,
was.
yeah. It's like if you're gonna go in, you gotta go in. You can't then turn around and pat him on the back and say, what I'm saying, like, I believe in, I believe you're the greatest, but it was messed up what you did to me. Like that's what he said basically.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It was sloppy. I look at it like this. Now I understand hip hop, and I got a lot of other thoughts, but that could be for another day.
Hmm.
But if you want to go in on somebody, it's like you got to go in like your career depends on it because it does apparently,
Hmm.
you know. And I don't think MGK took it seriously.
No, I don't think he.
And in my opinion, my prediction is M is going to have some mercy on him.
Right. My thing is too is like if you're coming, if you're like I said, if you're coming, you're basically fighting Mike Tyson when you're talking about fighting him, battling Eminem. So if you're gonna come at Mike Tyson, you gotta go savage mode on him.
You better bite his ear off before he bites yours off.
Yes, exactly. Otherwise, one lick from him can put you down on the canvas, and you're gonna be out for the rest of the match. You might be career ended, which M has already done to a lot of rappers who already try to battle him.
Hmm.
Their careers. We're talking like 4 or 5 guys that were top of the game when he came out. So if you're gonna fight him, you got to be more savage, and you can't diss him and compliment him on the same track. That's not savagery to me.
No.
You can't do that. So you can't go around saying you're the greatest rap god, but you can't take a joke. Like that's what he said to him. He's like,
Yeah,
you
I
can't take a
heard
joke.
that,
You're the
and
greatest rap god, but you can't take a joke. Like
when I heard him say that, I was like, all right, I'm done. I'm checking out.
like you gotta be a savage. Like M was a savage when in his diss track to MGK. He called him a pedophile. Like he didn't compliment him at all. He called him a pedophile. If you guys listen to the album, um,
That's a serious accusation to be shooting at anybody.
yeah, dude. He called him a pedophile, like because he said a line. He said a line. You know who you are, Kelly. Like he says R as in ARE,
Yeah,
Kelly, but
yeah,
it's
that
in
was a double
reference to
entendre right there. That
yeah. So,
oh
so it's
man,
in reference to the singer R. Kelly and his whole deal with underage girl.
yeah, him and Aaliyah, him and other.
Yeah.
Oh
And
man,
in case you
that's a
guys
double
don't know,
entendre right there.
in case you guys don't know, the background story on how that all got started is because MGK put out a tweet back in 2012 about Eminem's daughter, Haley, and she had done some kind of photo shoot, and the tweet read something about how hot she was. Now, at the time, MGK was 20 in his 20s, and Haley was only 16 years old. So he's talking about how hot a 16-year-old girl is, and he didn't say just she was pretty. He said she's hot as fuck. Like that. That's basically that's how strong it was. And of course, you being a dad, that's a low blow, man. You don't go be like some 20-year-old dude talking about how hot your 16-year-old daughter is. Like you gonna get at him. But that's where it started from, guys. If you're not hip on the game, you're not rap fans or whatever, and don't take this the wrong way either. I'm a multi-dimensional music buff. I love all kind of genres of music. So, but this is just the hot topic right now, and so we thought we would put that little nugget in there um, as a little bonus segment to what we discussed earlier. So let us know what you think. Like, comment, subscribe. Put in the comments what you think about MGK and Eminem. What you think about women being dream killers. And let us know, man. And I'm just gonna sign off again. This is another segment of Unapologetically Male. This is your boy Max coming at you one more time with my co-host.
Lando signing off.
Signing off, guys. Peace.
Peace.